At some point in your math career, you have probably come across an inequality. An inequality is a simple statement that says something is not equal to, or and generally, that it is greater to or less than something else. So, for instance, we could have 7 is greater than 3, represented by the greater than sign. So, we have our greater than sign, our less than sign, our greater than and equal sign, and our less than and equal signs are the common signs you will come across when dealing with this branch of mathematics. But we can apply these to equations with variables. For instance, we can say x must be greater than 3. This means that x can be any value greater than 3. And furthermore, just like we can in linear equations, we can manipulate equations to simplify and solve. So for instance, we could say x plus 7 is greater than 3, which turns into x is greater than negative 4, using the same algebraic manipulations that we do when dealing with linear equations. Just like we manipulate equalities or linear equations or quadratic equations, we can manipulate inequalities in almost the exact same way. So if we have our example, x plus 7 is greater than 3, we get x is greater than negative 4. However, there is a rule when using inequalities that is different when manipulating equalities. For instance, let's take a very simple equation. Negative 3x is greater than 9. In an equality, we would simply divide 9 by negative 3 to get our value of x. So if we did that, we get x is greater than negative 3 because 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. But this doesn't hold true. This doesn't hold true for the inequality. When we are manipulating the inequality, whenever we multiply or divide by negative numbers, we must flip the sign. So negative 3x is greater than 9 must become x is less than negative 3. And to see why that is the case, we can look at an equation with only variables. So let's say x is greater than y, where both x and y are positive numbers. Taking this, we can say that x minus y is greater than 0. Now let's say we multiply them by a negative number. What happens? Well, let's take a simple number. Let's take negative 1. We multiply it by negative 1, we do this. Negative 1 times x minus y is greater than 0. We distribute, so negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative y is y, so plus y must be greater than 0. Now, clearly, now we can move the x over to the right side to make it positive, in which case we get y is greater than x, which is the reverse of our original equation, which said x was greater than y. So all that math, the only thing it did was flip the greater than sign. So we would get x is less than y. Now that is a basic rudimentary introduction to inequalities, but it covers the basics, key points being inequalities are simply representations of greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, or less than. And the manipulation to those equations occur in the exact same way as they do to equalities, with the key difference being that when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the inequality sign.